Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with our very own Money Truth expert, Judy Copenbarger. How are you, Judy?
Fantastic. It's so good to see you. How are you doing, Carlos?
I'm doing fantastic. I love the fact that we're in summer. I love the fact that we started this series regarding, summer savings, sun, fun, and finances. And I know that we got a lot of great feedback on our first episode. So I wanted to do another follow up on today, talking about family finances. And we're in summer. So how do we plan that perfect vacation, right? That's the subject for today. So if you're just tuning in, please make sure you follow Judy at judycopenbarger.today. Follow her on social media as well too. And what do you say we get started?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. So talk to us about planning that perfect vacation. What are some things that we should be, obviously, the common sense things that we should be looking at?
It depends on who you're going with. I think it's always good to just have the outcome in mind with any kind of a plan. So if you're going as a couple, both of you get together and talk about what exactly needs to happen for you to come home from the trip or from the vacation and say, that was the best ever. What's that one thing? And if you're traveling with kids, with littles, ask each one of them, what's the one thing you want to do? I remember, when our kids were growing up, we lived near Disneyland. And so we would go there. That was our park. And we'd go just for an hour or two often. We had the season passes. And we would always ask everybody in the car, what's the one ride you want to do today? What's the one thing you want to see today? And if everybody got that one thing, at least it was a success. So planning a vacation can be the same way. Everybody gets at least their one thing and they're satisfied and feel like it was the best ever.
So talk to us a little bit about, so there's folks who think that, for example, you work every day, some folks are making ends meet and all of that, but there's also ways of choosing affordable destinations, right? And I don't think we really think about that. When you think of vacation, you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to go to Hawaii, I'm going to go to Europe, but I can't really afford that with everything else that we have going on. So talk to us about just a great way to look at some other options or destinations.
Oh, so many ways to go without having to break the bank. So, and we're really fortunate nowadays we have all these Airbnbs, right? And the VRBOs, and you can stay in someone's home or someone's back ADU, the back house, or even in their home for very, very little money. So that's one thing you can do. You can consider camping or glamping. Camping isn't the way it used to be with the canvas tent and just the fire, although
Right.
that's fun too. You can even rent an RV. You can Airbnb an RV. I don't know if you know that. There's a
No.
website, Camp, where you can just get a destination, take your RV there, park it, hook it up, and there you go. So those are very cost-effective things. The biggest cost for most people when they travel is going to be the food. Eating out, eating out, eating out, coffee out, breakfast out, and all of that. And so if you have a way to prepare your own food or part of your own food, that can go a long way to saving money on a trip. Another thing to think about is if you own a home or a second home or a third home, they have all of these home trading apps. I made a little list here. Third Home, Vacation Exchange Network, we've used that one. Holiday Trading. There are all these great apps where people will come stay in your home and you go stay in their home. And now you don't have any hotel fees and you have a full kitchen and it's fully stocked, right? So those are all kinds of options. It doesn't have to cost a lot to go a lot.
So there's also, from what I understand too, that people don't realize or take advantages, and you talked about this before, is utilizing points, right? A lot of us have credit cards that can utilize some of this for vacationing as well too, but we don't really think about it. We just keep adding and adding and adding, right?
Absolutely. The general cards, we use the American Express Platinum. It has a lot of travel benefits that fit our lifestyle and our travel style. But there are those credit cards that are affiliated with banks and airlines or banks and hotels. And so it's got actually the logo of the hotel or the airline on it. And you get extra points for using that resource with that card. So if you like to fly Hawaiian Airlines or you like to fly American Airlines or whichever one it is, grab the card that will give you the most points when you're doing that. If you're a frequent flyer, that'll go a long ways. The general cards will give you also discounts, general points. Even groceries, or if you're paying your electric bill, with your card, you get points for that. Cash back is good, but it doesn't give you as much value as using points toward a resource or towards some kind of travel. So that's something to think about too. Some people like the cash back at the end. I get my 1% or whatever back. Well, if you got 3, 4, or 5% back, but it was used for travel, and then you got to use the travel concierge, at the company, like American Express has a great travel um, department. And you just call and say, I want to fly to Dubai. I want to go to Hawaii. I want to do whatever I'm doing. And they book it for you and they find all the deals. And then it just goes right on your card and then you get all those points. So all kinds of ways these days, just Google around, find the kind of travel that you're thinking about or that you often do, and then find the deal that goes with that. But there's so much out there. It's worth a little bit of time looking into.
So talking about this, since we're in the planning stages of a vacation, right? Talk to us a little bit about saving on travel expenses, right? What are some things that we kind of overlook? We just go with spur of the moment and don't really think about things, but ground us, please. Tell us how we can make sure we save on travel expenses.
You said spur of the moment, and that's one of the keys. If you are ready to go, like today's Tuesday and Friday, I'm ready to go somewhere. I'm ready to go back east or go to an amusement park back east or a concert or whatever. The last minute deals can be the deals, whether it's a cruise because they're trying to fill the ship, right? Or whether it's an airline, they're trying to fill the airplane, whether it's a train trip and they're trying to get as many, passengers on that train as they can because it's going anyway. Sometimes there are deals just to get you on there. I think cruises is where personally I've seen the most benefit booking late. It's like, I've got this little window. Where can I go? And then package deals where you get the flight and the transportation to the cruise port, and then you get the whole cruise and everything all included. Amazing. That's another thing, all included. Look for the all inclusive resorts. Some of the best trips we've taken with our family with 5 kids were all inclusive. So you don't have to worry about getting to the restaurants, figuring out where you're going to go, how much is it, and all the tips and all that stuff. Everything is right there on site. You have all different restaurants to choose from. Everything you can eat, everything you can drink, all the pool, all the amenities, the toys that go in the ocean, all of that stuff for one cost. And one trip we did was amazing. We it included the airlines, it included all of the hotel waiting for the second airline because it was a 2-day trip to get there. And it was all inclusive. Everything from soup to nuts with tips and everything was included in one pretty low fee, I thought at the time, for 7 of us to have everything we wanted, entertainment, everything we wanted, like everything, food and everything for a whole week. So there are always deals like that. So look for the all inclusives too. They're not only um, the exclusive wealthy people places. There are a lot of those, but there are some that are very reasonable for regular families just trying to get away. So check it out. It's worth looking into.
So Judy, we're talking about expenses. We're talking about planning that perfect vacation. I want you to take a moment and remind folks about the buckets, right? Because I know we talked about buckets for different things and all that. And I know at one point or another we touched on that vacation bucket, right? So remind folks a little bit about how to save and put it on each one.
Yeah. So the buckets have to do with planning the outgo of your expenses. So there's money you're going to spend now, money you're going to spend soon, and money you're going to spend later. Now, soon, and later. The now money is money that when you earn it, it comes in and I need it right now for my expenses. I've got housing, I've got gas and utilities and a phone bill and food. I've got all the stuff I need to pay for right now this month or this week. The soon money is the goal. This is where most of your travel funds are going to go. It's kind of your slush fund, your savings fund. It's like, I'm going to replace my car. I'm going to take this great trip. I'm going to do something extra outside of my ordinary monthly expenses. Those are goals that you have that I would say are short term. And then you have your later money. And every time money comes in, I think you should allot at least a percentage, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10% would be great for the future. So it's not necessarily attached to a goal right now, but it's money you're going to have later in life when something comes up, a health issue comes up, you decide you don't want to work anymore. It might be because of age or health or whatever, but you need your money to do the working for you at some point. Some people call it retirement. I don't really believe in retirement. I think I'm always going to have something amazing that I want to do and get to do. But I do want my money to be able to replace my earning power. And so my Mr. Money goes to work. And if I can earn income or want to earn income, I can. But if I don't, the money will be able to take care of my expenses in those later years. So now, soon, and later, those are the three buckets.
Awesome, folks. So make sure you're paying attention to this. And also, you can look this up at judycopenbarger.today. Make sure you're following Judy and all of her social media links too. So, we always love hearing about you, and we always love hearing your examples, right? Whether it's for clients or things that you've gone through. So now I'm gonna throw a little side question for you now too. So think back. So I'm gonna ask you it's a two-part question. Think back before you had kids, and what's one vacation that stood out for you that you remember really well? And also, when you had kids, what's one vacation as a family that you guys took that just stands out in your mind, something you're always going to remember?
I would have to say the without kids, it's the question is with and without kids, right?
Right.
I would say the without kids, it has also become a favorite of our family as the kids grew up, and still now that they're all grown. But we had never been to Hawaii when we were married. And so part of our honeymoon was we went to Kauai and we went to Maui as part of, we had a very long honeymoon, but those were a couple of islands that we visited. We fell in love with Kauai. It's just so pristine and green and untouched. And still, they're keeping that island pretty much untouched. And so we went back there almost every anniversary for probably 30 years.
Wow.
And there were a couple of years we missed, pregnancies, couldn't travel, that kind of thing. But we went back to Kauai almost every year for many, many, many years. And now I bet we've been there 50, 60 times. So
Wow.
that's one of our favorites. Without kids, all those memories of those early years, just exploring the island that now we know pretty
Mhm.
well. And I would say with kids, boy, there's so many. All the trips around the world, really mission trips and different, serving trips where we went to help the people, the local people. But I think if you ask them collectively, they do return fondly to the memories that we created on a Hawaii trip. And we went to Kauai, but we also spent 4 or 5 days on Oahu, right in Waikiki, which is it's a city. It's like Los Angeles with
Right.
a beach. Um, but we stayed right in downtown, all the Asian people in the little Chinatown right near the beach. And we went to an old place that had a penthouse. And the penthouse was a whole apartment of 3 or 4 bedrooms, several bathrooms, a whole big kitchen, and very, very, very top of this old building that looked out over the whole city. And
Wow.
we had the best time. We were throwing paper airplanes off that thing, and we went downtown and we went to the beach. It was a very different vacation from most of ours. Usually we're very secluded, either in the mountains or, way back out, by ourselves where we don't see people. That one was unusual and really memorable in their minds. And we just had a good time just exploring it together. So that was probably a highlight for the family trip.
So I'm glad you brought up mission, right? Because I know that we talked about the fact that why you do what you do, right? This is all about your legacy. This is about what you've made a difference for folks and all that. And the fact that you brought up mission, you also have your family involved in missions. Talk a little bit about Judy and her legacy. Like why are you doing this, and why are you out there sharing all of this wisdom with folks?
Oh, to make a difference. I want people to be able to get past survive and get way up into thrive in their lives. And so if they can figure out the money part, and for some people it's not intuitive, if it wasn't modeled and you just don't have that wiring, it takes practice and it takes some training. So I think it's for people to get a handle on money so they're freed up to go make a difference beyond their family, to leave a legacy of their own. And if I get to help people do that, it might be, if you love sports and it's been a big part of your life, making sure that the local kids have soccer uniforms, and everybody's got the balls and the rackets they need for their sport, and when they're, underprivileged or in a place where they just don't have that edge that maybe you had or we had. It might be you care a lot about music and you want to endow further music learning. You want to provide instruments to kids to learn, or you want to be part of a philharmonic and go there and volunteer and not have to worry about a paycheck. Maybe legacy, your legacy is music. Maybe your legacy is making a difference for people around the world that just don't have what we have. I've been doing some work in India and some work in Africa and South China. Did some work there with folks that just don't have basics. In Africa, mosquito nets because malaria is such a problem. In India, bore wells because they don't have clean water. In Africa, same. But just making sure that they've got what they need. And if they don't know how to get what they need, equipping them with tools and resources and knowledge, show them how to build a little garden, show them how to raise chickens or take care of a cow, and breed cows or whatever it is. In India, we're doing a lot of work with sewing machines. You've got these little villages that have no way to make money. That their parents, the caste system, right? So if their parents were brick makers, that's what they do. If their parents were brick makers, that's what they did, right? So a way to get out of that, lowest of the low mentality, but also opportunity. You take to one of these little villages a sewing machine and show them how to use it. Now they're building something. Now they don't have to spend the money for clothing. They can make their own. And if they're making their own, well, maybe they can make an extra one and sell it, and learn how to count and learn how to read and learn how to ride a bus because now they can read the signs. So stuff like that is so meaningful in my life. I do what I do so other people can find their thing and do that and find that purposefulness in life. That's why I do what I do.
And you know what? And actually, I would love to dedicate a show just exactly about over the years the differences you've made in different organizations. Because I know for a fact some of the stuff that you just shared with you that you continue to do, and then there's a lot more to it than that too. So at some point, we will schedule, folks, an opportunity for you to hear about these great organizations that Judy's involved with and how you can also make a difference. But I wanted you to share that just to remind folks that why you're doing what you're doing. It's not about money. It's not about anything other than always trying to help people too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of health, folks, we're at the tail end of our show, and you know what that means. It is our money truth challenge, right? And so, what do we got for vacationing or about our episode this week?
Here is your challenge. Plan your next trip, plan your next vacation or staycation. I like vacation better, because you can use some of the skills and some of the learning that you just gathered here. So think about where you want to go, who's going to be going with you, what are the options that you have. So if normally you call a travel agent and you say, book me a flight for here, I want to stay at this hotel. Think outside the box. What might be a trip or a vacation that is more creative, it's out of the box, something a little bit different, maybe a place you haven't been, maybe a type of travel that you haven't explored before. If you've never stayed in a home, you've always stayed in a hotel, try that. If you've never gone glamping or stayed in an RV, and some of them, they're like small houses. They're like turnkey, really nice houses, chandeliers, china, crystal. Maybe try that. Something different. If you usually go to the mountains, try the beach. If you usually go to the desert, try something else, right? So your challenge is to book the next trip or plan the next trip, get everybody who's going to be on the trip involved, find out what is the one most important thing they want to have done by the time you get home, and write all that down and then take action, right? Get it on the calendar, find out if you need a travel agent or if you need to look up the sites to figure out where you're going to go and how you're going to do it. Do that. And then finally, get a budget. If you usually don't have a budget or a spending plan around your trip, do that. We're going to spend $500 on this. We're going to spend $8,000 on this, whatever it is, and break it down into a daily cost. And if you really need to stick with that budget, if you break it down daily, it will help you so much. Because let's say Tuesday comes and you have $300 you can spend that day. What are we going to do to keep the cost maybe of food down so we can go to the amusement park or so we can go do something fun? And don't forget, here's a couple of tips. I can't stop without it. The Twilight discounts, museums, parks, national parks, regional parks, all kinds of amusement parks. They have Twilight discounts. You go later in the day, you pay half or less. Even golfing. right? You go in the afternoon, you pay less than if you go in the morning. There are family discount days, and a lot of museums, zoos, things like that. They have one day every month that is totally free. So look for those deals. Almost every place you want to go has a deal. You just got to find it. There's your challenge.
All right, folks, we can't wait to hear what you guys come up with. So please do share, send us a message, and we'd love to just get some feedback from you as well too. And if you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. Follow all of our social media content. And we are here every morning at 8 a.m. with the Tuesdays mornings at 8 a.m. with the follow-up on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Judy, any last parting words?
No, just have fun planning that trip. I'm excited for my next one. Enjoy.
All right, until next week. See you guys. Take care.